Hello guys, today I'm just going to be doing a Pearson Edexcel International GCSE paper for maths, the mathematics A. That's for paper reference, that is 4ME1 slash that. This is for the foundation, so hopefully this video should help for people who are taking foundation maths, alright? This is for the code 2FR, Thursday 6 June 2019, foundation tire paper. So let's try to solve this foundation paper, alright? So this is, you have to use black ink. Remember to take black ink in your exams. Calculators are allowed for the 2FR paper, I think. Total mark for this paper is 100. Let's move on. There's a formula sheet given for the foundation tire, so that's pretty good. They're giving you the area of trapezium, the volume cylinder as well. So let's start with the first question. So the table shows distance, work out, then write the number 9280. So you just gotta write, since this is 9, it's just 9,200, 9,280, 9,280. Which of the 5 cities is nearest to London? So which of the 5 cities from London to each of these 5 cities? So they haven't given the distance for London, so how are people supposed to check this out? Have they given anything? They've given Rio, they've given New York, Manila, Sydney, Kolkata. So for London, it could be either New York based on the distance. It could be an assumption question. So maybe choose the lowest possible distance in kilometers that is nearest to London. Yeah, so okay, so in order to do this, when they ask you that's nearest to London, that you don't need to know London's distance. You just choose the nearest distance possible, so that is the smallest distance here. Nearest to London is New York because it has smallest distance in kilometers, unlike the other cities. Alright? Write down the value of 10,734. So this is coming in the hundreds place. So you're most likely to write 700 as your place value. Which of the 5 cities is 7,962 kilometers from London? So this is most likely, this is the wording for the number 7,962, which gives it for Kolkata. So it's Kolkata is your answer. Alright, write the number 16,000 to the nearest 1,000. So the nearest thousands, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. That is this number 6, and you have to round it with 9, so that makes it 17,000. There are some good 5 marks that I scored there. Pretty good questions actually. So pictogram shows that. How many naan breads were sold on a Wednesday? So since this one symbol represents 8 naan breads, there are 3 naan breads here. So you just do 8 times 3. That should give you about 24 that have been sold on Wednesday. How many breads were sold on a Saturday, then were sold on a Friday? So, okay, how many were sold on a Saturday? Since these are 4 parts, you know that 8 divided by 4 parts is 2. That is, this small section, quarter, is equal to 2. So on our Saturday, we have 1, 2, 3 being sold, in addition with a bit of 2 as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to write 3 times 8 breads. That's what they represent. And you're going to do plus 2. This should give you the number of breads for Saturday. And that's about 26. This is breads for Saturday. Now Saturday, and now for Friday, we have, there's 2 times 8, 16. So since they're asking how many breads were sold, how many more breads are sold, you just gotta do 26 minus 16. That should give you about 10. So there's 10 naan breads, alright? Now 12 naan breads were sold on a Sunday. Show this information since we know that this one symbol represents 8 pieces. So 12 should represent 12 divided by 8. That should give you about maybe 1.5 breads that needs to be shown. So you're going to just draw one bread that represents 8, and you're going to draw a half of that as well just to represent it. So you have 8 and you have 4, so 8 plus 4 becomes 12. So this is your pictogram representation. Okay, alright, that's it. Okay, the manager of the restaurant says that more than 100 naan breads were sold in the restaurant from Wednesday to Sunday. More than 100 naan breads were sold in the restaurant from Wednesday to Sunday. Is the manager correct? You must sure you're working. Now, in order to do this, we have to calculate the number of breads sold on Wednesday. That's 3 times 8, plus the number of breads that were sold on a Thursday. That's how many? There are 8 plus 8 plus 2. That should give you about, no, since this is 4, right? Because it's 2 plus 2, since one piece represents 2. 8 plus 8 plus 4, that should give you 20. Plus on a Friday, you have 8 plus 8, that's 16. On a Saturday, you have, let's say for a Saturday, you have, it's going to be 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 2, that should be 26. And on a Sunday, you have 8 plus 4, that's 12. So based on this, you're gonna put that in the equation form, and you're gonna write how many pieces were being sold in total, and you're gonna get 98. Since 98 is less than 100, this implies that the manager is wrong, right? Since 98 is less than 100, so it's no. No, because the reason is, you can say no because 98 naan breads were sold. Naan breads were sold. Alright, okay. So move on to the next question. Write down the word from the box that describes the angle marked X. So the angle marked here could be more towards obtuse, because it's about it's greater than 180 but less than 360. Write down the mathematical name for the following polygon. This is mainly content learning. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. So this implies that this is an octagon, since an octagon has 8 sides. Next one, on a probability scale. So it's a probability question. Mark with a cross X that the probability of dice will land on 10. So the probability, remember, dice has only 6 sides. A dice has only 6 sides, so the chances of getting a 10 on a dice is 0, so you have to mark it at 0. And probability scale, mark X on landing on an odd number. So on a dice, the number there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are only these numbers, and the probability of getting an odd is odd. That would be 3 out of 6, and that's technically half. You got 3 outcomes out of the total of 6. Half is 0.5. Half is kind of equal to 0.5. Alright, that's 0.5. Let's move on to the next question. Hopefully that's understood. There are a list of 8 numbers. You have to know which one's a square number. So now a square number here is most probably going to be 81, because the square of 81 is, you just got to square root then until you get a whole number. So you can just square each number to check it out, since calculator is allowed. So it's going to be 81 since it follows the condition. Factor of 50, it's 10 because it's divisible. Prime number is something that is divisible by itself, and 1 itself is 23. All the other numbers have tables in them. Now, work out the value of this. Write down all the figures on your calculator display. So this is a pretty easy question. All you need to do is put this in your calculator. You're going to hit that box symbol on the calculator. Put 9.24 times 4.35 divided by 6.54 plus 2.919. Your answer should be all displayed. All the values is 4.5883566164. Just put this value down. You should be getting some good marks, 2 marks. Okay, so at least like 4 digits are required, but it's optional for you to write the whole thing down. Give your answer correct 2 significant figures. Since this is 1, 2, the third significant figure, that's going to be that portion. It's going to make it 4.6. Okay, it's going to round this 5 up to 6. Let's move on to the next question. Write down the coordinates of point B. B lies in the axis of 2 and 3, so that's 2 and 3 for the xy plane. Write down the lateral point with coordinates 2 minus, so this is xy, so on the y-axis you have minus 2, and on the x-axis you have 2. So that is about this point here, right? That's a point A. Now find the coordinates of the midpoint AC. Since you have the midpoints AC that is given here, the points, midpoints of AC, you need to find out the coordinates of what A stands for. So A is minus 2, comma 3, since minus 2 is on the x-axis. C is 4, comma 1. So you have x1, y1, x2, and y2. Now the midpoint formula that I would like you guys to understand is m is equal to x1. I want you guys to by heart this, okay? It's pretty important. x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So here your x1 is minus 2, your x2 is 4, okay? You're going to divide it, comma your y1 is 3, your y2 is technically 1, and you're going to divide it by 2 as well. Since that's understood, you have 2 comma coordinates, so m is equal to, just put this in your calculator. It's really that simple. Just put in your calculator, you should be getting 1 as well, comma, once you do 3 plus 1 divided by 2, you should be getting coordinates of about 2. So that's your final answer. It's 1, comma 2. It's pretty awesome. It's going to score you some 4 marks. Next one, he buys 1,200 rupees to spend on pencils. It costs like 45. He buys as many pencils as he can. Work out how many change he should get. So since we know that one pencil costs about 45 Indian rupees, we have to know that how many pencils can he buy, work out how many change he should get. So we know that he has only 1,200 rupees, so you're going to do 1,200 rupees, you're going to do 1,200 rupees divided by 45 to find out how many pencils he can buy maximum. He can buy about 26.6, so that's about 30 pencils being seen here. How many change he should be getting? So the change that he should be getting is 1,200, the change he has, times the number of pencils he can buy, 30 times 45. This should give you approximately 30 times 45. Should give you maybe you don't need to maybe scratch this idea out. They're asking how much change he should get. So since he has that much money to spend, we know it's only possible to buy 30 pencils. So that could be your answer itself. 30 rupees most probably that's going to be your answer. Alright, now Anjali travels from Beijing to Shanghai by train. The train leaves Beijing at there seems to be no dots, colons there, so it's a bit odd. The train arrives in Shanghai, okay, that's understood, at 13:15 the same day. Work out how long the train takes to travel from Beijing to Shanghai. Give your answer in hours and minutes, right? So in order to do this, you have to, I think, convert that. Let's put colons there because I think that's simpler. You have to work out how long the train takes in hours and minutes. Since we know, we have to find out the total number of hours, and based on this, what you can do is you're going to put it in your calculator. I think you can just put that in your calculator and find out how many hours. This is 7 hours and this is 25 minutes. I think this should be 13 hours and some minutes there as well. So work out how long the train takes. So you're going to put 13, this value here, and you're going to hit your value on your calculator. There's a button like this. This just represents the timing calculations, right? Since you're just going to hit it on your calculator button, you're going to subtract this value as well, 7. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit 13. I'll show you what the equation you should put. So you're supposed to write 13 square, put that up, 15, put that symbol up as well. Since there are no seconds in bold, you're going to put that symbol, click the button calculator each time you write a value. Once you do that, you're going to find out how much time they take. Just subtract that value. There you should be getting about 5 hours and 50 minutes 0 seconds. That could be your answer for 2 marks. Maybe if you want to show 1 hour calculations, but it's simple, just hitting your calculator. You should be getting 5 hours and 50 minutes. Work out the size of the angle marked X. Now the angle marked X here, this shows a kite, and we know that angle ABC is equal to angle ADC. Since the opposite angles, there are only one pair of equal angles, so these both are equal. That's a rule of the kite. What you need to do is now add all of these values together. That's going to be equal to 360 degrees. This is because the angles in a quadrilateral all add up to 360 degrees. That's a rule. So once you're going to do that, you're going to do 360 degrees minus 90 plus 90 plus 140 should give you 320 degrees. This should be equivalent. Let's just reload the software again. 360 minus 320, that should be about 40 degrees in total. So that's 40 degrees for your 2 marker answer. Now the diagram shows a kite PQRS as well. Work out the area of the kite PQRS. Now since we know the opposite sides are equal as well, what you can do is you're going to split this triangle, split this kite into 2 opposite triangles since they're right angle triangles, and you're going to write the area of the triangle is half times base times height is equal to half times 12 times the height is 33. Once you're going to put that in your calculator, you're going to put half times 12 times 33. That should give you about 198. This is the area for one triangle. Since they have asked you to work out the area of the kite, you have to do 198 times 2. This should give you about 396 centimeters squared. 396 centimeters squared. That's our answer for that question. Now, next question seems, oh wow, this is maximum 4 marks. Okay, so Carl has 5,700 bricks. He wants to put all the bricks into crates. Each brick is a cuboid measuring that much. Each crate. So they're giving you the total number of bricks. Each brick is measured like that, and each crate of a cuboid. So this is a brick. Okay, that's what we're gonna label, and this is a cuboid. Carl has 4 crates. Is there enough room in the 4 crates for 5,700 bricks? So in order to do this, we have to maybe calculate the capacity for 1 brick. Now in order to calculate the capacity for 1 brick, you have to know what's the formula for the volume. Okay, so you're going to check the capacity for 1 brick. That is, for this 1 brick that's here, you're going to do 9 times 3 times 5. This is a formula for volume where the cross-sectional area is multiplied by the length and the depth. So the depth here is 3 centimeters, so this is about 135 centimeters. I think this is volume, right? So keep the capacity for 5,000. You have to do 5,700 times 135. So that should give you about 6769500. Now you're going to find out the capacity for 1 crate. That is, since this is the crate, right? This is the crate. You're going to find out the capacity for 1 crate. So for 1 crate, you do the same thing, 72 times 36 times 75. You just multiply all those values, and using the formula for a cuboid, you'll be getting 194400. Based on this, since he has 4 crates, the bricks that is needed in 1 crate, so the capacity of 4 crates, that's technically 4 crates as 194400, and you should be getting 4 times 194400, this is 777600. This is the capacity and the bricks needed in one crate, what you're going to do is you're going to do 5,700 divided by 4, and this should give you a value of about 1,425. So the max number of bricks in one crate is 8 times 12 times 15. That is 1440. So since we know that this is greater than 769, the capacity is pretty okay, so it's yes. And you can write as 777600 is greater than 769500. So this is your answer, 4 marks. It's a pretty awesome question, and hopefully it's understood how to solve this, right? So let's move on to the next question. Next question talks about median of the number of matches that are placed in the box. So for median, what I would like to do is, it's just from 13, you're gonna square root your values for 14 plus 13 plus 8. This is your position value, so it's 14 to 21. 22, you're gonna add 21 plus 8, it's 29, and then from 29 plus 6, so you should be getting 30 to 35, 36 to 35 plus 5, total is 40. So we can check out the total. The total frequency is sum of all frequencies is 13 plus 8 plus 8 plus 6 plus 5. That is 40, and it's correct. This is the position in terminal. Now to find out the median, you just got to do n plus 1 divided by 2 to find out the nth value. Since we know the frequency is 40 plus 1 divided by 2, so 40 plus 1 divided by 2, we have the value is 20.5 value. So it's 20th. That's somewhere showing us that the number of matches for the median is 20, because it comes under the value range. So it's 22. Work out the mean number of matches. Now, to work out the mean number of matches, what you're going to do is going to do the formula. This is also there in higher tier where they work out, but it's more of the midpoint base. They don't give these values here. So since we know that the total is 40, we need to know each one's value. We have to multiply them together. So 13 times 21 plus 8 times 22 plus 8 times 23. Since there's no space here, what I'm doing technically is I'm multiplying each value together, right? And I'm adding them all up in order to get that value. So what you're going to do is you're going to do 21 times 13 plus 22 times 8 plus 23 times 8 plus 24 times 6 plus 25 times 5, all divided by 40. So this should give you a strong value of about 21 times 13 plus 22 times 8 plus 23 times 8 plus 24 times 6 plus 25 times 5. That is about 40. So this should be giving you a value of about 22.55. Don't round it up, just leave it as that value. That should score you some good 3 marks. So now, since we know that that value is about, let's say, 22.55, you know that that's your mean number of matches. Let's move on to the next one. Is mostly algebra. Well, this paper is pretty long for being a foundation paper. It's surprising. So it's 11 plus 5, 11 plus 5, 16. F is equal to 16 divided by 3. That should be about 16 divided by 3. That should give you, just leave it as a fraction. That should give you marks 16 divided by 3. Okay. Expand w squared plus 3w, so that's w squared plus 3w. That should be your expansion. It should be all fast. You guys should know this. Work out the value of y. That is 5 brackets minus 3 squared plus 20. So 5 brackets minus 3 squared plus 20. You just put that in a calculator. You should be getting a 65 value. That's pretty good. Now factorize. This is a question that appears in the higher tier paper as well, for maybe I think 1 mark, 2 marks as well. So you need to know, you have to find out two values that multiply to get minus 36 and two values that add to get minus 5. So in this case, we know that the values that you can add are 36 divided by 9. Maybe you can use the numbers 9 and 4. So since we know that minus 9 plus 4, minus 9 times 4 gives you minus 36, minus 9 plus 4 gives you minus 5. So you just got to make an assumption like that. So you have x plus 4 and x minus 9. Just put these values separate with x columns with their values all being placed there. So x plus 4 brackets x minus 9, that should score you some good 2 marks. Alright, let's move on to the next question. So your next question here is Maria is going to make some blackcurrant pies. Here's a list of the ingredients. Okay, Maria has the following ingredients. I've seen this in some higher tier papers as well. Work out the greatest number of blackcurrant pies that Maria can make using her ingredients. So her ingredients for 6 pies is that much flour. So this is the ingredients to make 6 pies, and work out the greatest number of blackberry pies that she can make from her ingredients. Okay, so for 6 pies you need that much flour and you need that much stuff. So what you're going to do is you're going to do 150 divided by 6, that's going to give you 25, or you could just do 420 to just find out how many blackcurrant cakes you can make in that one shot. Then you're going to do 755 divided by 25 to get 30.2. How many marks is this? This is 4 marks. Once you do that, and you should do 265 divided by 70. This should give you the value. So the reason it's for calculation for all 4 of the ingredients, right? So the reason we're dividing it is to calculate how many blackcurrant pies can there possibly be. Once you find that out, you're going to, the 70 that we got here, the reason why we got 70 there is because you're going to do 420 divided by 6, right? So that's 70. You're going to do 170 divided by 6, that should give you 28.33. And you're going to do 95 divided by 6 to get how many values for each pie can be made, right? So based on that, you're going to divide 70 like this and get 8.07. You're going to do 685 divided by 28.3 to find out the value is 24. Then you're going to do 950 divided by 15.83. These are all correlated values. Once you do that, you should be getting 18 as the approximate answer, but the reason we have chosen is that we have calculated these values individually, right? So based on this calculation, we can make the assumption that we have to indirectly add all of these values together in order to go get that 4 marks. So that's 18. That can be maximum. That's possible values that can be made is 18. So based on that, you're just going to calculate the values, and 18 should be an okay answer for this question since it's 18.08. Alright, so on to the next question. Is 15 the graph. Find the distance Chuck travels 150 kilometers. Since we know that there are 10 squares, is 5 divided by 10. That should give you about 0.5. 0.5 times 5, that should give you about 2.5. That is here. So 50 divided by 10 squares on top should give you, that's 5 per square. So 5, this is 25 as well. So Chuck travels 150 kilometers. Using the graph, find the amount of petrol that he has used. So based on this, you can make an assumption clearly that this line here, right? So we know that 10 plus 2.5 plus a bit of 0.5 plus a bit of 0.5 as well, right? That should give you an approximate value of 13.5. That should be your answer, 13.5 liters. Just add these 0.15 per square. I just used 10 plus 2.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.5 to get 13.5 liters. So Chuck leaves Fiji. He puts petrol. The petrol costs him that much. 1 liter costs that many Fuji dollars. Find out the distance. So in order to find out the distance, we know that the petrol costs him this much, right? So we know 1 liter is 2.0 Fiji dollars. This is called Fiji dollars. Okay, so he spent about 16.24 Fiji dollars. So you're gonna do 16.24 divided by 2.03. That should give you how much fuel he has used. Once you find out he has used 8 liters of fuel, you're going to look up on your graph and find out where 8 liters of fuel is most likely to be. So this is 5 plus 0.5 plus 0.5. This is 6. We know that this is 7 and this is 8. So we know since this is 8 here, we know that it's an assumption that we're going to get 50 plus 25. This portion here is 75, so we're going to do 75 plus per square, remember it's 5, right? Plus 5, that's about 85 should be a range. So 85 kilometers, he spent 85 kilometers is the value that he spent. Scale diagram shows the position of 2 statues. Measure the bearing of B from A. So from B from A, that means you have to measure this bearing here. You're just going to take your protractor and measure the angle that is being corresponding to this line. The answer should be maybe about to 78 degrees to 82 degrees. So whatever value you get, it should be correct. Another statue C is on a bearing from B. So we know that it could be from B itself. And you have to draw a diagram maybe. The protractor here, maybe you have to take the protractor and measure from B and just draw some, I think, C line depending on your calculation, and you can use a scalar value. Since the protractor is not here digitally, it's a bit challenging to do it, but you should have approximately 4.5 times 2 should give you maybe a distance about 9 centimeters, I think. So 9 centimeters should be a value, but you have to mark it in your correct position. So X should be in the correct position. This is for 3 marks. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Write down the inequality. Since we know that circle is not filled, we know that X should be all greater than or equal, not greater than or equal to, it should be greater than minus 3. This is an inequality, so you have 4y is less than. This appears on higher tier papers as well. So it's pretty good that's appearing on foundation papers. So you have that value, you have 4y, and we're just going to rearrange this equation in a way that we can get the idea. So 21 greater than or equal to 4y minus y, that is 3y should be less than 21, y is less than 7, and that is y is less than 7. Alright, let's move on. Show that this question appears in every higher tier paper. So this is something that you guys have to understand. So you have to multiply 3 times 15 is 15, 15 plus 2 is 17 by 3, minus 8 plus 3, that is 11 by 4. All you need to do is put this in your calculator. Maybe you could show some little bit of working, but we're just going to write 35 by 12. 35 by 12 for 12, which is the best answer. 12 times 2 seems to be the best probable answer. 35 minus 24, that's about 11. So you have to show this answer. 35 by 12 is equal to 11. 12 by 2. This should be our answer. Alright, so this is a question for question 19. It shows us a quadratic, I think a quadratic equation. So what do you need to do for getting these 2 marks? You just need to write y is equal to 1 plus 5, where the x should be minus 1 minus 1 square. All you need to do is use this equation and just input the values for x. And once you do this, I've seen this in higher tier questions as well. It's pretty good. It's coming up in foundation papers. Alright, so now what you need to do, once you do that, you have minus 5. Do that individually, you should get minus 5, 5, 5, and minus 5. Alright, for 6, let's just check the value for 6 in case. 6 square, I think, yeah, it's minus 5. So now all you need to do is, based on your x and y values that are given, you just need to plot the graph. So if you have minus 1, minus 5, that's going to be plotted here. You have on there's 0 and there's 1, should be plotted there. If it's 1, 5, it should be plotted there. If it's 2 to 7, it should be plotted somewhere here. If it's 3 to 7, it should be plotted somewhere there. If it's 4 x-axis to 5, it should be plotted somewhere here. If it's 5 to minus 1 to 1, I think it should be plotted there. And if it's 6 to minus 5, it should be plotted there. It shows a quadratic curve. That's pretty good, N-shaped curve. You just plot a smooth line covering each of these points accurately. Just draw a smooth curve. This is supposed to be a smooth curve, alright? So that's it. You should score some good 2 marks for this question. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, this question is similar to the higher tier paper as well. Work out the length of DE. Now, in order to work out this length, you need to know a formula called scale factor. So scale factor is equal to the new length that's divided by the original length. Now, in order to do this, you have the new length that's given to you as 40, and the original length is about 16. So you have the scale factor about 2.5. So you do, now in order to do this, you have 12 centimeters that's here. Now to convert to a DE line, you just do 12 times 2.5 to get the value of 30. So 30 centimeters should be our answer for this question. Alright, 30 centimeters. The area of a triangle is this. Find out the area of the triangle of DEF in meters square. Now, since we know that the area of triangle DEF is that, and the area of triangle, we know that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters, right? And since we know that this is squared, so we just square these values together to get that value. So what you're going to do is you're going to do 525 centimeters squared. This is going to be divided 525 divided by 100 square. 525 divided by 100 square. This should give you a value of 0.0525 meters squared. That's your answer for that question. 0.0525 meters squared. So it's 0.0525 meters squared. Now, there are some ice lollies in the freezer. Work out the probability that Julius takes either a strawberry or a mint. Now we have to calculate what's the probability for mint. Now to calculate the probability for mint, all you need to do is 1 minus 0.35 plus, since all the probabilities add up to 1, you're going to find out the probability for a mint, that is 0.21. Now, since they have mentioned that work out the probability, you cannot give this as your answer because it's a probability or question, so you have to apply addition. So we have the probability of strawberry to be about 0.35, that's 0.32, sorry guys, plus mint, which we found is 0.21. So in order to find that question out, answer out, you have 0.53 should be your probability, right, for getting either a strawberry or mint. So 0.53. Right, next question. A football team won that many games. Work out how many more games the team has won than lost. Okay, it's a pretty similar question. Each game was won, drawn, and lost. So we have to work out the number of games that are won. So you have total parts. That is 6 plus 3 plus 2. That's taken from this question. 6 plus 3 plus 2. That's about 11. So the games that are won, there are 6 games won out of 11 times a total of 55 games that are being played. So 6 by 11 times 55, they have won, about 30 games have been won. And the number of games that were lost, you have here, it's given 2 out of 11, since the ratio is number of games lost. So 2 out of 11 games total times 2 out of 11 portion of that game times 55 games, you have about 10 games that were lost. These are 1. Work out how many more games the team won. So you just need to do 30 minus 10 to give you the answer of 20. That's the difference. So you have 20 as your answer. It's pretty awesome. Okay. Next question is talking about the highest common factor of A and B. So highest common factor, we're just going to take the lowest number of values that are possible. So we know 3 by 2 is the lowest, 5 by 3 is the lowest, 7 by 7 is the lowest range. We don't take 11 since there's nothing common in 11 with A. So the HCF will be 3 raised to 2 times 5 raised to 3 times 7, since they're all common with each other. 3 raised to 2 times 5 raised to 3. You can leave it as this answer as well, but preferably some marking schemes mention that you have to give the whole number of values. So we're going to get 7,875. 7,875 should be your answer. Find the lowest common multiple of A and B. So since we know this value, you have to do for LCM you have to do the opposite. You have to include the values that are not in common in both A and B, and you have to find the highest possible value. So 3 by 4 is the highest possible value, 5 by 4 is the highest possible value, 7 is the highest possible value, and 11. So what are you going to do for LCM? You're just going to do 3 by 4 times 5 by 4 times, let's say 7 times 11. So now you're just going to find out the value for this as well. Based on your answer, you should be getting about 3898125. 3898125. So 3898125 should be your answer. Alright, let's move on to the next question. This talks about write this number in standard form. We have to give any number between 1 and 10, so that's 8.4 times 10 raised to the power of 5, okay? Since they're number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? So 8.4 times 10 times 10 raised to the power of 5 should be our answer. Now work out this, give your answer in standard form. Since this is division, you're just going to do 6 divided by 8, put them both in brackets, multiply the switch of the division sign to multiplication. 10 raised to the power 7 divided by 10 raised to the power minus 2. Now you have 6 divided by 8, that should give you about 0.75 times 10 raised to the power 7 minus 2, since this is division, times 10 raised to the power. Your indices rules must be really strong. Might as well go through that again. 10 raised to the power 9. Since we know that this is the answer, we have to convert to standard form. So you have 7.5 times 10 raised to the power of 8 decreased 1, since you're moving the decimal place to the right. So if you're moving it to the right, then you have to decrease the value of this to 1 by 1. So 7.5 times 10 raised to the power of 8. Next question. Henry, oh wow, this past paper is so similar to a question that came for the higher tier topics. The reason is not known, but it was pretty similar actually. I remember doing these questions in some of the videos. Henry buys a yacht for this many euros, it depreciates in this many, work out the value. So you have to know that the new value is equal to the original value times 1 minus, the reason it's minus because it's depreciating, is 18 by 100, alright, and raised to the power of 3 years. This is your answer. You have to, this is an equation that you have to write down. Maybe for 3 marks you just put that and find out what this value is, and I'm not going to do that now in this time. So 1 minus, put that in an equation, you should be getting about raised to the power of 3. You should be getting about 82705.2. This is a 7, just to clarify. To the nearest euro, cut this 2 out, you should be getting 82705 euros. There's no rounding happening, so it's 82705 euros are your answer. Alright, 82705. Now let's move on to the next question. Find out the equation for L. Since we know that this must have, it slopes in the opposite direction, it must have a negative gradient. Use this equation, y equals mx plus c, where m represents the gradient and c represents the y-intercept. Right? Since we know what the y-intercept is, we know that the y-intercept is any coordinate that crosses the y-axis. So we can find out the coordinate of this point on this point, since it crosses the y-axis, and the y-intercept here is, it's 0, minus 1, right? Okay. Now we have to find out the gradient. For gradient, you just pick any 2 points here, okay? And we know that the rise is 2 squares above and the run is 1 square. So that gives you y is equal to -2, because it is going, it's not a rise up, it is sloping downward. So it goes down by -2 and it turns right by +1. So that's y equals -2x minus 1. Okay, you put your y-intercept there as well. So y is equal to -2x minus 1. This is x comma y, okay? -2x minus 1. Now since we know that that's our answer, now let's move on. So this is the last question for a total of 5 marks, so that's pretty awesome. So let's understand this. So they're asking you to calculate the length of AB. So you have to just find out what AB is. So that's this distance here. You just need the height to be given to you. So you're going to split this triangle into B, D, and C. You have 3.1 meters and you have 32 degrees. Now what you're going to do is you're going to use this, since this is the opposite, this is the hypotenuse, this is a right angle, it's following the rule SOHCAHTOA. So since we know that it follows this rule of SOHCAHTOA, you can apply it. You're given the hypotenuse and you have to find out what the opposite is. So you're going to use sine is equal to opposite divided by hypotenuse. Theta is given to you sine 32 is equal to opposite. That is BD. That's what we're trying to find. The hypotenuse 3.1. You're going to multiply these two values together of sine 32 times 3.1, which is giving you about 1.6427. Just leave it to these many places, meters. Now in order to do that, you have to draw another triangle. You have B, D, and A. So this is 42 degrees. We found out what BD is. Since we know what BD is, you're going to do opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. This time you're going to use the rule of cos. Theta is equal to adjacent divided by hypotenuse. Since cos theta is known to be at 42 degrees, the adjacent is 1.6427 divided by the hypotenuse AB. AB is equal to, this is rearranging, so you must know these stuff. AB is 1.6427 divided by cos 42 degrees. AB, put that in your calculator. This is a point, okay? So it's 1.6427 divided by cos 42 degrees. Now, based on this calculation, you need to find out what AB is, and AB is 2.2104. Since we have asked to calculate your 3 significant figures, this is 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. That is AB is equal to 2.21 meters, right? So 2.21 meters. This is your answer, and the question for 27 is worth 5 marks, so you might as well score that. Total mark for the paper is 100, so I think there's no other questions that are being asked here. That's pretty good. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please do share it with your friends, share it to everybody you can. It really helps the channel a lot, and just do like the video, it really helps, and do subscribe to the channel, helps even further. Otherwise, if you guys want me to, please do comment below if you guys want me to continue doing questions on past paper related questions, or questions on certain topics. New content will be posted soon. I'm doing a biology video as well, so do watch that if you guys like it.